2:00 p.m. And we do have a quorum present. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees of Weatherford College. Today is Thursday, August 11, 2022. It's about 2 p.m. We're in the community room of the Emerging Technologies and Workforce Building located at 225 College Park Drive, Weatherford, Parker County, Texas. And we're here to consider and act on the posted agenda. This meeting is called to order. We do have a quorum present, as I said. I'll ask Mr. Baker to give the invocation at this time.
Yes, sir. Please bow with me. Lord, we're again thankful for this day and new beginnings, new semester, new students coming on our campuses. Please protect them and bless them and help this to be a wonderful, life-changing opportunity for them. Be with our faculty and staff and our board. Thank you for their service. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Mr. Baker. Let's all stand and I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Baker can answer that.
Mr. Baker, since you're the we're looking at the public comment for individuals not on the agenda.
We don't have anyone today,
We don't
sir.
have anybody here at this point. Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 3, President's Report. President Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman and members of the Weatherford College Board of Trustees, I would like to give a few brief recognitions, employee notices, and an enrollment update. Recognitions. Congratulations to Shanna Mello for facilitating the funding of a $295,050 grant for electric vehicle charging stations. We appreciate the grant letters of support from Senator Springer and Representative King. Our grant application was scored higher than any other submission. 14 charging stations will be installed in the Alcutt parking lot near the roundabout, and we are working on plans for charging station installations at our beautiful Wise County campus. Our WC workforce team recently received a JET grant for $296,263. Grant funds are being used to purchase heavy construction equipment simulators and drones. We are very appreciative of both the work of our WC team members and of the strong political support for Weatherford College. Weatherford College's respiratory care program recently received the President's Award for Excellence in Credentialing Success from the Commission on Accreditation for Respiratory Care in Palm Springs, California. Program Director Tanya Peel and her team do a tremendous job. Tanya is here with us, and we'll be hearing a little bit from her shortly in the reports section of the meeting. The St. Louis Cardinals recently selected former Weatherford College pitcher Matt Hickey in the 15th round of the Major League Baseball draft. Hickey joins over 30 other former Coyotes who have been drafted. The National Junior College Athletic Association has announced its 2021-2022 academic awards for teams and individual athletes who excel in the classroom. A record number of 31 Coyote athletes were named to the NJCAA All-Academic Teams. The same discipline that leads to excellence on the competition surfaces leads to excellence in the classroom. Go Coyotes! And finally, I would like to thank our generous donors. We established the President's Circle a little over 6 months ago to recognize donors who had given over $100,000. In that short amount of time, we have now added 5 new donors to the President's Circle. We are very thankful for their collective generosity. Employee notices. DMAC Local requires the college president to provide the names of contract employees that have resigned since the last board meeting. Bill Cooper, Police Sergeant, has resigned effective 7/28/22, and Jessica Pugh, our Upward Bound counselor, has resigned effective 8/4/22. We thank Bill and Jessica for their service and wish them the very best in future endeavors. Enrollment update. System-wide year-to-date enrollment is up 18.5%. As of August 9th, we had 4,375 students registered compared to 3,689 at the same time last year. Mr. President, that concludes, Mr. Chairman, that concludes the President's report.
Thank you, Louis. Any questions or comments about any of those items on the report? If not, we'll move to agenda item 4, consent agenda financial reports, A through F. Are there any questions or comments about those items that are listed? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda and financial reports?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved. Thank you. Moving to number 5, consideration possible action appointment of Prosperity Bank credit card account administrators. Dr. Cantrell.
If you will recall, back in June, you authorized us to go to Prosperity Bank and secure our new credit cards for the, they last week came forward and told us that we needed to designate the managers for these accounts, and so they would need 2 in case one was not here. So, and the reason it didn't go on the consent agenda is that we needed names actually mentioned in the minutes. So we're recommending that myself, the CFO, Executive Vice President, Andrew Cantrell, and Lisa Simons, Controller, would be the 2 managers listed.
Any other comments or questions, Dr. Farmer, anybody?
I support this recommendation.
Okay, thank you. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees appoint Dr. Cantrell and also Lisa Simmons as administrators over Prosperity Bank credit card accounts, and that would give them the authority to call customer service or credit card department, obtain information, all of those things with regard to that account, those accounts, and sign requests, order new cards, close cards, all of those things. Is there a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved. Thank you. Moving to agenda item number 6, consideration possible action proposal of the 2022 ad valorem tax rate, scheduling of public hearing. Dr. Cantrell.
After our budget workshop on Tuesday, I tried the best I could to show you what it would be what rate it would be necessary for the college to adopt to support the budget for the coming year on the tax rates. At this time, I will say, I'll just review this, that the appraised value this year is $19,914,879, which is 11% increase over last year at this time, 11.1. Which was last year's $17,923,000. We've attached for you the rate calculation worksheet that CTA calculates. It's very detailed. It's very complicated at times. They have to go in and have figure the unadjusted tax rate over last year, and then come down further and do the adjusted tax rate. As required by law, we're recommending at this time to balance our budget that the total rate required would be 0.122476. This equates to a 5.2% increase over the adjusted tax rate and a 7.36% increase over the 5.2 is over the unadjusted, I believe. No, over the adjusted, 5.2 over the adjusted, and a 7.36 over the unadjusted. As required by law, it will be necessary for us to propose this tax rate after the hearing, which will be held on, we're recommending that it be held at noon on August the 22nd. And what will take place at that time, we will come into, We're going to do it a little bit differently this time upon recommendation. I spoke with TASB about since the hearing and the rate are going to be adopted at the same meeting. We've never done that before. So they recommended that we first adopt a budget, then we go into the hearing, and then we come back and vote on the recommended tax rate at that time.
Okay.
So basically, following that, we're recommending at this time that the Board of Trustees propose to adopt the 2022 ad valorem tax rate of .122476 on August the 22nd in this building we're in right now, the community room of the Emerging Technology and Workforce at Weatherford College at 12 o'clock.
All right. Any questions or comments on that? If not, is there a motion that the Board of Trustees propose to adopt the 2022 ad valorem tax rate of 0.122476? This would be done on August 22nd, 2022, and also to confirm the tax hearing date and time of August 22, 2022 at 12 o'clock p.m. Is there such a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor of that proposal, raise your right hand. That's approved unanimously. Thank you. All right, we'll
I
now
will note
move.
at this time, Mac, if you don't
Yes,
mind,
ma'am.
that there will be 2 notices coming out for
Yes,
that
ma'am.
hearing day. One will be a notice of public hearing on tax increase. We'll put that on our website on Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
Either this Saturday or Tuesday. Tuesday at the latest, it will run in the newspaper also. And then there'll also be a notice of meeting to vote on the tax rate that will be placed at the same time. But both of these are explained very much in detail and information that the taxpayers would want to see.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Moving to agenda item number 7, consideration possible action determination of prevailing wage on construction projects for fiscal year 2022-23. Once again, Dr. Cantrell.
I know before we broke ground on this building, we were required to do this also. It's a Texas government code that the Board of Trustees, when contracting for public works awarded by a political subdivision, they shall determine the general prevailing rate of per diem wages. We're recommending, just as we did last time, just a continuation, that the Board of Trustees approve the Texas Government Code Section 2258.022 subsection as it is its option in determining the general prevailing wage rate for per diem wages is presented.
All right. Any questions or comments about this item? If not, I'll read it again. The recommendation would be, and a motion would be, that the Board of Trustees approve Texas Government Code Section 2258.022A subsection 2 as its option in determining the general prevailing wage rate of per diem wages as outlined in that recommendation. Is there such a motion? Motion, is there a second?
A second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Now we'll move to reports under item A8. The first report would be academic student services update. Mr. Indy and also President Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to turn your attention towards the information that was provided in your packet and thank Vice President Mr. Indy for his help in preparing the academic sections of that, as well as our new Assistant Vice President, Dr. Scott Tarnow-Nuveski, Dr. T, as he's known, with the assistance of Mr. Adam Finley, the Executive Dean of Enrollment Management and Registrar. And I also, before we leave the academics update, would like to recognize our Faculty Senate President, our outgoing Faculty Senate President, Professor Smith, Will Smith. This is his last meeting as Faculty Senate President, and I will tell you that through the collaboration of the Faculty Senate and the faculty as a whole, we had unparalleled advances this year in academics. And Faculty Senate President Smith, thank you so much for your service. It's deeply appreciated. Moving to, if I may, Mr. Chair, to item 8B, our annual testing report. We have Gwen Crabtree here from our testing center, and you've been provided information in your packet about all the testing that has been going on. They are incredibly busy over there. They do great work. I was over there bright and early yesterday morning, and their brand new air conditioning has been out, and we've got a temporary unit trying to cool that space during their very busiest time of the year. Yet they all had positive attitudes and big warm smiles, and so Gwen, very warm smiles. Thank you so much for all the great work that you and your team do to serve our students. You're truly very appreciated. Thank you. Moving to item 8C, we have a verbal report from Professor Tidwell, one of our science professors who teaches primarily anatomy and physiology, and she is here today to give you a recycling report and talk to you about several initiatives that we have on campus. So Professor Tidwell, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, President Farmer. All right, my name is Lauren Tidwell, and I do teach in the Life Sciences Department. I'm here today to present a recycling report. Is this not?
Larry, is our mic on?
And I wanted to discuss the electric vehicle charging stations, our recycling bins, and our refillable water bottle initiative. In May of this year, Weatherford College was awarded the full grant amount of $295,050, as President Farmer stated, by the North Central Texas Council of Governments for the purchase of 6 dual-head Level 2 chargers and 1 dual-head Level 3 charger. The electric vehicle charging station call grant allows Weatherford College to provide a total of 14 electric vehicle charging stations on campus to the public at no cost to the users. Out of 11 applicants, Weatherford College was ranked the highest in the grant award selection process. As President Farmer mentioned, plans for charging station installations at Wise County are also in process. The charging stations on the main campus will open to the public during an Earth Day event in 2023, and that event is going to be headed up by Shanna Mello. Our current recycling efforts on campus include paper recycling bins located in each building. 8 additional recycling bins have been purchased to expand the recycling efforts to include cans and plastic. The new recycling bins are designed with 3 compartments to accommodate cans and plastic bottles, paper, and waste. I spoke to the purchasing department this morning, and I'm happy to report that the 8 recycling bins have arrived. They were delivered yesterday evening. So CBRE will be assembling and distributing those bins to their designated locations throughout campus. Along with the electric vehicle charging stations and the recycling efforts, the refillable water bottle initiative on campus has made a positive impact on the environment. We have several refill stations all throughout campus, and these have reduced the amount of plastic generated by disposable water bottles. These refill stations look very similar to regular water fountains, except they have a bottle counter located on the dispenser. So each time they're used, we can see that tally increase, which indicates how many plastic water bottles have been saved. Our students, whenever they come to the campus and they attend the new student orientation, they receive their own refillable water bottle. So they can use these at the stations. You just place it up by the dispenser, and there's a sensor that will detect the water bottle is there, and it will fill the water bottle up all the way to the top, and then you can see that counter increase by 1 each time that bottle is filled. The main campus has 20 of these refill stations, and that has eliminated about 52,000 plastic water bottles to date. The Wise County campus has 10 refill stations. between the two campus buildings, and that has saved about 2,000 plastic water bottles to date. The Granbury campus utilizes 2 5-gallon filtered water bottle dispensers, which replaces the need for about 90 water bottles. On behalf of Weatherford College, Teresa and I would like to present to each of you your very own refillable water bottle as a thank you for your support in our efforts for becoming a greener campus.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gonna hide my water bottle. Thank you.
Man,
Timing is excellent.
this one doesn't.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, I
Yes, sir.
have 2 questions. One, where are the 14 recharging stations going to be located on campus?
Well, sir, I think President Farmer can speak a little bit more to that.
Sure, yes, sir. They're going to be right down here in the Alcat parking lot near the roundabout. This is part of a statewide infrastructure that the state grant was funding, and we were getting it as close as possible to the interstate to make it convenient, and also in a highly visible spot so that the public, when they drive by, can easily whip in there and charge their vehicles. And it's kind of in an outlying area as well, so it won't present parking challenges for our students.
Okay, by the roundabout, thereabouts. by
Yes,
the
sir.
roundabout.
Right down by the roundabout.
Secondly, several years ago, it seemed like all the waste paper recycling bins were picked up all over. I guess China quit buying waste paper, so there was no source for it. Is there any plans to have a place where the public could bring waste paper and deposit?
Sir, not that I'm aware of. President Farmer may have more details on that question.
We're exploring that right now and working with our partners at the county who have established a place for that. And that's something that we would like to move towards. So we're exploring that option right now.
It's a shame, because when you look at all the churches and all the schools that used to have paper and cardboard recycling, and those went away, I am sure all that, the majority of that's going to the dump. And that's a shame, because that is something that we could do, so.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that's why Weatherford College is taking a leadership position on this issue in our community. And I really applaud Professor Tidwell and all of her colleagues for stepping up and doing what others are not doing.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you.
President Farmer. Thank you.
Professor Tidwell, I have one question. How much, what's the cost on those charging stations individually? About?
Individually, I'm not sure, honestly. Is that a number that,
Let me throw you a lifeline here, if I may, and help you out. There's 2 different types. The fast charging ones are more expensive. They're about $14,000, and the normal chargers, which we'll have most of those, are about $3,000 per charging station.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions, comments?
Yes, what's the difference between a level 2 charger and a level 3?
yes, sir, the level 3 charger, it can charge a vehicle to drive about 150 miles within about 30 minutes, whereas the level 2 charger, it takes about 4 hours to get that same distance.
And how many of these will go to Wise County campus?
So the 14 that we have the grant for currently are all for main campus. And so separately, we would have additional charging stations at the Wise County campus.
Is that part of this grant?
I'm not sure if this
It's-
amount covers.
It's actually a second round of the same grant. The first grant was looking at the interstate corridor, and since Wise County was to the north, they've issued a second grant. But we are prepared to put in charging stations whether the grant is funded or not. But we're going after those state funds first.
Well, Interstate Highway 380 goes past the Wise County campus.
That's why we're very, very hopeful. There's unquestionably a lot of traffic, increasingly so.
Okay, very good. This is,
Perfect. Thank
this
you.
is really commendable operation and a project. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I just wanted to add, President Farmer and I talked about this over a year ago, and this board is very supportive of the recycling efforts and all of the things that you touched on here today. We appreciate the work. We hope that you will stay enthused and you will pursue those monies and you will get those things done.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right, Dr. Farmer, respiratory care, D.
Yes, thank you so much. We have Professor Tanya Peel with us here today, and she and her team have always done a really exceptional job, top-notch. She too is a former Faculty Senate President and a leader among the faculty, and is quite a contributor to our organization. We've always known the importance of respiratory care, but regrettably, the COVID-19 pandemic really brought that home, just how important respiratory care is. And so we are very proud of the work of Tanya Peel and her team, and I'm very proud to turn the floor over to her at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to come and visit with you about our program and our recent successes and awards that we've received. I made a PowerPoint because my team isn't here.
Tanya, I'm sorry, could you speak up? That microphone is not broadcasting up here, and we can't really hear you very well.
Better? That's better. All right, so I made a PowerPoint. My team is in clinicals. This is our last clinical day, so I wanted you to meet my team also, because really our successes are the collaboration between the faculty and the students. So I'm just going to take you, let's just start out and let's talk about what a respiratory therapist, how we're different than nursing, because a lot of people ask, well, what is a respiratory therapist? You're kind of like a nurse, aren't you? And the answer is no, we're not. We are a completely separate profession than nursing, but a very important part of the interdisciplinary team. So we are actually critical thinking clinicians that are extensively trained in cardiopulmonary medicine. And my students would sit up here with that first bullet and definitely nod their head. They are feeling like they are extensively trained right here. We're a patient advocate. We work side by side with the doctors and the nurses, making important decisions for the patients at bedside. We work in all avenues, trauma, emergency medicine, ICU, neonatal pediatrics, burns, subacute care, surgery, anesthesia. I tell people that if you're having trouble breathing or if you're not breathing, probably your respiratory therapist is going to be your most important person at that time. We all have our own experiences, and we all, as clinicians, have varied scope of practices because we're not all just registered respiratory therapists. There are several different credentials that a therapist can specialize in. So I want to just give you a historical perspective from our program, and I'm going to stop at various times because really, along the way, there have been key things that have made us as successful as we are today. So our program began in 1998. Sheila Butler and I were hired out of Odessa College to start the program, so I've been here since the very beginning. I was about 5 when I started. So. In 2003, Sheila went on to pursue other opportunities, and I was moved into the program director position, and in 2004, hired Crystal Brenner as director of clinical education. Crystal has been by my side for the last 18 years. So one of the reasons we are so successful, I think, in our program is we have very little turnover in our faculty in those 2 positions. Crystal says we've grown up together, and that's absolutely true. I say Weatherford College is stuck with us until we retire or expire, whichever one comes first. So that is Crystal. In 2011, we graduated a student. Her name was Samantha Callie. That's Samantha. We started using her in clinicals a year after she graduated. She was a great student. She was an even better practitioner, and we started using her just a little bit in clinicals, and until she became a full clinical adjunct. She worked for us as a clinical adjunct beginning in 2012, and we hired her as a full-time faculty in 2020. So it's kind of neat to be able to see people that we have graduated actually come and work with us as part of our team. So we have been together quite a long time. In 2017, we had our last accreditation site visit, and in that site visit, it was pretty much as perfect as it could be. There were no deficiencies noted in our program, no real even recommendations. We had mere suggestions. Basically, we sat down and had a conversation about, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? And one of the things that came out of this was a suggestion to have face-to-face advising sessions for any applicant that was interested in our program. So one of the things that we're finding super successful is we send our students out into the A&P and micro classes. They recruit for us because there is something about sending those students into a classroom with other students that they can see the excitement, the passion that they have for our field. And then those students, if they're interested, come to me. And we have a face-to-face advising session in my office. We spend 30 minutes, sometimes we spend a full hour talking about the profession, talking about our program and the unique opportunities within our program. And I think this is one of the reasons we're bringing in stronger applicants and we're turning out better critical thinking respiratory therapists, is because students really are wanting that connection with faculty. They want to know that we care about their success, we're here to support them, and with face-to-face advising sessions, I think that our program gives them what they are desiring. So that site visit, the longest a program can be accredited is for 10 years. We have that full accreditation. We'll have another site visit in 2027. In 2019, we had the same medical director up until 2019, and he retired. He was a great medical director. We hired Dr. Razak Badamosi as our new medical director, and this man, he loves respiratory therapists, and he is a great educator himself, and he is cutting edge. So we are in clinical practice doing things that they're just now talking about. Our students are participating in lung ultrasound at bedside, learning a lot of different things, and it's all due to Dr. Badamosi being such an advocate for respiratory care. In 2019 also, we started implementing a marketing and recruitment strategy that strengthened our applicant pool. I told you about the students coming to the A&P and micro classes, and that's done a great deal for us in the number of applicants we have in our program. All right, then we hit 2020 to 2022, the COVID years, and people usually cringe when we say that, and I gotta tell you, looking back, coming through hopefully the worst of it, and looking back now, these 2 years probably were the best 2 years for our respiratory care program, because a lot of times adversity sparks creativity, and we did a lot of good work during those 2 years. I ended up teaching a class that I hadn't taught in 15 years and rethought that class, and we found the missing link in our curriculum, really. We found something to teach everything around, that everything ties together. We've been doing it 2 years and we've had great outcomes. During the pandemic, respiratory care in general across the nation was not prepared to go online. And my team and I, we created a lot of online simulations, a lot of videos that we put on YouTube, and we ended up sharing those across RT programs nationwide. So I still actually went to a conference in Palm Springs a couple of weeks ago, and some programs are still using our YouTube videos in their classrooms to teach. But the best thing that came out of the pandemic for us was the concept of synchronous instruction. And I have to admit that this happened selfishly on my part. I was so tired of sitting behind my desk and lecturing on Zoom. I hated it. And one day I said, I'm just taking my iPad, I'm going in the classroom, I'm gonna put my iPad in the classroom, the students are gonna Zoom in, but they're gonna see us in the classroom. And when they logged on, and they saw I was in the classroom, their eyes lit up. They were just so excited to be back in their environment. So we started doing this, and the students loved it. And as a matter of fact, we've had such success with it. And the reason for us having this success is we record each lecture. And the students get sent that link, and they can watch that lecture as many times as they need to solidify the concepts that we're teaching them. And this has been so successful for us that our remediation, we remediate every failed test and every failed quiz one-on-one. Our remediation has decreased from 17% down to 4 to 6% depending on the semester. So I know that it works. And we're still gathering data just to make sure we've only done it with one concept or one cohort, but we're still looking at it, but we're really seeing a remarkable decrease in the amount of remediation we're having to do. So now the students actually have a choice. They can be physically present in the classroom with us, or they can be online from home via Zoom, because we teach both at the same time. And so this has been, I think, something that's really unique to our program. It's a great marketing strategy. The students don't have to drive to campus. They can save money on gas. We have a really strict attendance policy, so if they're sick or they have kiddos that are sick, they're still able to attend class on Zoom. And so it's working out great for us. And our co-arc, they've actually approved this as a continuation. We can teach like this as long as we want to, as long as Weatherford College lets us. So all of this has come together now with a lot of successes. Since 2015, this program has always received the Distinguished RRT Credentialing Success Award. This year, however, we received the President's Award for Excellence, and there were only 23 programs out of the 418 in the nation that received this. And basically this means for a 3-year average, every graduate from our program has tested at the upper level credential. So we were very proud. There's our picture there, Dr. Farmer, myself, and the president of the co-arc. With this data, when you sort it, we are also the top-ranking respiratory care program in Texas and the top-ranking respiratory care program in the nation, although we share that with 22 other programs. So, and we are at capacity, meaning we have filled every seat in our program and have for the last 3 years. Nationwide, there's a huge shortage of respiratory therapists. There's a huge shortage of bringing students into the classroom. As a matter of fact, only 10% of the programs across the nation are at capacity. So we feel very fortunate to be part of that 10%. But let me go backwards just a little bit. These are great things, and I'm not dismissing what we've accomplished, but I am going to say I don't think any of us, any of the faculty in our program have ever shot for any of these things. They're a byproduct of what we do on a daily basis, which is educating our students to be the best respiratory therapists we can be. So I want to talk about what we think as success in our program. This is Callie Edison. She graduated from Odessa College in 1999. Now remember, I came from Odessa College. This is actually one of the first students I ever taught. And we have been friends ever since she graduated, and actually I've mentored her a lot of times through her profession, but she has actually just become program director at Midland College. Midland College is the program that I graduated from in the early 90s. So it's kind of neat to see this really come full circle. But the really cool thing about this is Midland College curriculum and their program mirror images Weatherford College's. So we are influencing statewide curriculum, which is kind of a neat thing. This is Brooke Jeter. She graduated in 2006. She is the manager of cardiopulmonary and non-invasive cardiology and neurodiagnostics at Baylor All Saints. She's a big deal in the Baylor system. And she's one of our graduates, and she is just so pro-respiratory and has done so much for our profession in this institution. This is Crystal Jones. She's a 2019 graduate. She started as a clinical instructor this summer at South Plains College. This is in Lubbock. And she just got hired as the director of clinical education. She'll start that September 1st. And I can't tell you how excited I am for her, because I don't know if I've known a student that has transitioned into education as fast as what she has. So I think she's going to take to it like a duck to water, and hopefully in the next 5 to 7 years she'll move into the program director's position also. So, and I'm certain Weatherford College is probably going to help mentor her into that position also. But this one, I want to show you this. I can't read it because I'll get teary-eyed, but this is what success really means. for us as instructors. I asked my students a couple of weeks ago, how did you feel when you first got accepted into our program, and how do you feel now? Because I thought the answer was going to be that they were exhausted and I was going to do some kind of motivational something to help them re-energize. But I got this and I thought, oh my gosh, I never realized this about a student. So getting accepted was a really rewarding feeling for her, but she never told her family and friends that she applied because she didn't think she could make it through. And a year into the program, that feeling's gone. She's feeling confident. She's feeling blessed to have the opportunity to be a part of this. And the funny thing is, I look at this student and I think, oh my gosh, she is such a better student than I was at this point in time. And she was thinking she wasn't going to be able to do this. And to see her mature and become confident and be able to think about in the next 10 years what she's going to be capable in the profession, this is success for our program. So where do you go from here? Well, this is what we've got planned. We're going to enhance our social media marketing. That's where the applicants are going to come from with social media. So we've got a plan to enhance and do more with social media. We're creating more engaging high school recruitment activities. We're thinking an escape room type of recruitment activity. We're about to start collaborating with our clinical sites to develop recruitment videos that they're part of that video, and hopefully with some of the online classes, we can talk the instructors into embedding this recruitment video in. Since the pandemic, we've put ourselves to the side as far as our professional development. So this year we're working on obtaining credentials that we don't have. Crystal's going to obtain her adult critical care specialty credential. Samantha's going to become trained in lung ultrasound, and I'm going to gain my asthma education credential. So, and then we're continuing to work actively on simulation testing for end of semester outcomes. I probably ran over my 10 minutes, but I get a little bit excited about this. Please forgive me. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a comment. I'm blown away by your excitement, your enthusiasm, your love for what you do, and that's exactly what this school is about. And I just want to say we appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I really enjoy doing what I do. I can't
That's
imagine doing
obvious.
anything else. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peel. Thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you so much. Moving to agenda item number 9, future agenda items or meetings, Dr. Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As previously mentioned, on August 22nd, 2022, we will conduct a public tax hearing at noon here in the community room of the Emerging Technologies and Workforce Building, immediately followed by a called meeting to adopt the 2022-2023 budget and the 2022 ad valorem tax rate.
Any questions, comments? Not, moving to agenda item number 10, announcements, Mr. Baker.
Yes, sir. We are getting ready to bring all of our students back on campus. In-service is next week. Vice President Endy and his staff have put together a great offering for our employees. We have an in-service activity for everyone on August the 17th. That's next Wednesday, I believe, at 10:30. You're invited at the Alcac Fine Arts Center. Fall classes begin on August the 22nd. We do have a musical happening. It begins actually this weekend and runs next weekend as well. Bye Bye Birdie, a fun musical. It'll be in the Alcac Fine Arts Center those 2 weekends. And then we have our first home volleyball matches coming up, and a special event called the First Serve event, where we're going to have a cookout at 4:30 in the north parking lot, and then the first match will be at 6 o'clock that night. And that will be coming up on September the 7th. So we hope to celebrate a brand new team that night. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Okay, moving to agenda item number 11, closed session. We will at this point end our public session and go into closed session in about 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Approximately 5 minutes after 4 o'clock, and so we will now resume our open session, and we will pick up at agenda item number 12, consideration possible action, real property. We, after our discussion, there are no action items concerning number 12, so we will move to number 13, consideration possible action, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal of a public officer, employee. Once again, we've discussed some things, but no action items to take up in the open session. So we'll move to number 14 on the agenda, which is adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.